Hello, I'm Yvonne from Growing Old Disgracefully.
I'm Marie from Midlife Dramas in Pyjamas. You can find us both on Facebook.
And now we've come together to bring you inspirational stories from midlife and beyond in our podcast,
Hear Me Roar!
Hello! Somebody said that we always giggle when we start our podcasts.
We do.
When we started, just as I pressed record there, did you have to suppress the urge to giggle?
I did have to suppress
I did too,
the urge.
yes.
I had to squash that giggle down.
Oh, gosh.
But we are quite giggly though, aren't we?
I know. But we had a good giggle yesterday.
We had a great giggle yesterday.
Yeah. We were back in the place where we first agreed that we were going to do a podcast together.
Yes, we were. And this time we were sober in that place, whereas when we discussed a podcast, we definitely were not.
Well, we didn't leave that place quite sober yesterday.
No. Well, no, that's true. We didn't leave it quite sober, no.
Yeah,
but,
Oh, I know. And the sad thing is, we're sitting here talking about alcohol and having a laugh about alcohol. But for our guest today, Claire, she went from rock bottom to rock cakes, according to the title. Alcohol was no laughing matter.
No, it had a detrimental effect on her life.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. So after suffering from a severe amount of trauma for most of her life and struggling with alcohol addiction as a fully functioning alcoholic, so she wasn't even really aware that there was an issue, Claire ended up in prison for theft. So the story of her defrauding Premiership footballers, that was big news at the time. However, what happened afterwards is the real story. So it's a story of acceptance, apologies, fixing up and sorting herself out, growing up and taking responsibility for the mess that she created. Those are her words, not mine. So how did she get through being in prison? How did she stand up and be accountable for what she'd done? She didn't know, but what she did know was that she had to. She had to somehow come out the other side. So let's meet Claire and find out how she did it.
Hello.
Hi, Claire.
It's lovely to meet you. Well, I should explain, I met you when I put my car in for an MOT and I went to your cake shop.
You did?
And it was only me and you there, and we got chatting, and you started to tell me a bit about your life. And I went, I'm thinking about doing a podcast. Could you come on my podcast?
Yeah.
So tell us about your cake shop.
Yeah, so we've been open 2.5 years now. Very, very passionate, well-established team we've got. They've been with us from day one pretty much. And it's all about home cooking, what we love, and what we love to make. And I think it's a lovely vibe when people come in, feel really warm and welcome. We have a lot of young people come in who are struggling with their mental health, struggling socially. You know, a lot of young people have gone through this whole lockdown thing, and us as more grown-ups of a different era, we'd kind of already had our formative years out in the wide world with no social media, with nothing to really kind of inhibit us as such. So I do feel a lot for young people, and we get a lot of them coming in, and we'll sit and have a cuppa, or we'll have a chat with them, ask them how their day is, you know, and sometimes it's just that one person that they might see that day that stops them feeling a bit rubbish. So we're very much ensconced in the community. We're a real part of that, and that's a real key factor in what we do and why we do it.
So let me just say, your shop's called Cakeaholics.
Yes.
And it's in Winlayton.
It is, yeah.
Which is near Newcastle upon Tyne.
Yeah. And yeah, I got the keys in the Christmas of 2022, and people were really skeptical. They were like, where are you going to get your pass and trade from, and blah, blah, blah. And I always kind of thought that if we make the right things, people will come to us. And I'm really passionate about that nostalgic type of baking. You don't really see cake shops like that anymore. We don't have a menu, so we make different every day. And it keeps the customers on their toes, but it also keeps us on our toes as well. So it keeps it fresh. It stops it going stale sort of mentally and emotionally, because food is emotional. It's an emotional experience. You eat and you just go, oh, so, you know, like, so it very much connects, I think, a lot of different feelings. It's not just you're eating for fuel, you're eating for enjoyment. Yeah. And then we've got the horse box. So that's all finished now, up and about, doing food markets, food festivals. We do Newcastle Quayside, long days. It can be long hours for the team, but they're amazing. They're amazing. Yeah, it is worth it. For me, if you invest in your people invest in you
Absolutely.
and believe in you. And I couldn't do it without any single one of them.
I mean, we're from rock bottom to rock cakes, aren't we? So
Yeah.
that's the title of this episode. So we're kind of talking rock cakes here, but
Yeah.
all of this has come out of where you did hit your absolute rock bottom.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so let's just take you back. You have said that when you make a cake, you have to get the bowl of ingredients right,
Yes.
otherwise the cake will be off or it will
Yeah.
make a very poor cake. So tell us about your early life and the bowl of ingredients you were back then.
Yeah, so I'd gone through some childhood trauma. I'd gone through abuse and grooming at the hands of a school teacher, and he introduced me to alcohol in quite great numbers. I was 10 when that started. It went on for 4.5 years. And it kind of, I'm resolved with that. Like, I've done all my therapy, all the work that I need to do on myself around that. But it led into a serious dependency on alcohol. So every time something bad happened, or I made a bad decision, or I was stressed, alcohol was the crutch that kept me propped up. And I didn't see that for a long time. I didn't realise how, like, I was always the one at parties that, like, I was always a mess, always a mess. And it went very quickly from 0 to 10. Like, there was no sort of gradual, I just got more drunk and more drunk. No, I was just, I was a nightmare, absolute nightmare.
Did you realise at that time that you had a problem?
No, not at all. Or if I did, for a second, it was brushed under the carpet. And that pile of stuff that continually just got brushed under the carpet just grew bigger and bigger and bigger. And it was the elephant in the room that I never wanted to talk about. So, yeah.
That's a heck of a thing to go through, and a little surprised that it tainted a large chunk of your life.
Yeah, I think it tainted how I saw relationships with men.
Yeah.
It tainted kind of what I thought their requirements were. It tainted how quickly I got involved, who I got involved with. And yeah, it was really scary, some of the situations I would put myself in. So yeah, it's not until something kind of catastrophic happens that you think, wow, we need to sort this out.
Yeah, you tend to just go through putting yourself into dangerous situations without being aware or without even caring about it because you've got to that point.
Yeah, very much so. No self-respect, no self-esteem, no self-confidence. Trying to portray that everything is fine, everything's okay, it's all good, and it's just an absolute,
Not.
mess.
So presumably that was through your 20s that a lot of this getting drunk at parties and all the rest of it was happening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
were you still living up near Newcastle? at
Yeah,
that-
yeah. So I fell pregnant when I was 19. I had a job. I had a place at university. I wanted to be a journalist, and I'd worked at a local newspaper. And that's where I met my husband for the first time. And we worked together, and I used to go and get photographs from the archives for him, and he'd give us like little bits I could write and stuff, as well as reporting on all the other news stories. And I did well. And then I got my own column. So yeah, so in between that time of working and then going out, fell pregnant, had a job offer at the Daily Mirror down in London, and
Wow.
a place at uni in London. So that all kind of got kiboshed and knocked on the head. But my parents really supported us massively. I'd concealed the pregnancy for quite some time. I was still working in a nightclub. I was in denial, complete denial. And again, that comes to sort of a crossroads where you think, how do I approach a situation? I don't have the tools. I don't have the emotional wherewithal or experience properly to deal with things in the right way. Yeah, I had my daughter. She was due on the 23rd of December. She was born New Year's Day.
New beginning.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, I went back to work when she was 6 weeks old, went to a temping agency in Newcastle. Anyway, within 3 days, I got a job offer. I was at a doctor's surgery in South Shields as a secretary. Then I got offered a full-time job, but at the same time, I'd been to an interview with BT, which meant I could work 4 o'clock till 8, so I could have my daughter during the day, my mum and dad babysitter, and then I could go home, put her to bed, bath her, sort her out, and then Yeah, and it was better money as well. So I worked for BT for 5 years. Yeah. So I've kind of worked all the time and just fully functioned and fully managed everything.
And was alcohol still part of your life at this point
Yeah.
then?
Yeah, I would never drink in the house as per se. Like I would get the bottle of Baileys or something like that for Christmas and that would be gone within about a week. And even then that didn't kind of pop up any problems or any issues or any questions thinking, is this an issue? I just thought that's how people drank. Yeah, so I wouldn't go out like that often, but when I did go out, I was always in a mess. Always.
So you ended up down in London,
Yeah.
working down there. How did that come about?
Yeah, so a lot had happened in between that. So I got divorced. I met my husband now, and we were working in football and working in sport. And we had quite a lot of clients down there. And I wanted to get away from the area. I wanted to get away from past relationships, all the rubbish. But you're not getting away from it. You're taking it with you because it's not resolved. So in my mind, I'm just running away, basically. Yeah, packed my bags and I was like, no, we need to do this. I'm sick here. And yeah, I ended up working as a private assistant, personal assistant, for a very famous family, which I absolutely loved. But then that kind of like, there wasn't enough work and I think they were moving away and yeah, it didn't end well. And that kind of whole sort of parting of ways ended up through me going out one night and not going home and getting drunk, basically. So
Right.
yeah, that kind of wasn't, I didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't a professional thing to do.
No.
Right.
And then I went to work for another company, which again, I really enjoyed. It was organising a lot of travel, a lot of responsibility. And that's kind of then when I hit my rock bottom about a year and a half after that.
Right.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about what led you to hitting your rock bottom.
Yeah, I mean,
That's up to
I would be
you.
out every night after work. I wouldn't want to go home. And I think it was the harsh reality of looking in the mirror and realising that there was a lot of stuff that I needed to get through, but I didn't know how to do it. So I go for a few glasses of wine after work. It went away. It went away until the next morning.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then it was there again. And then if I had another few glasses of wine, it went away again. And it was just this vicious circle of just eat, sleep, repeat, or drink, sleep, repeat.
Yeah.
Again, fully functioning during the day and doing a really good job. Like I loved my job and everyone was like really happy with us, how organised I was. But I had an expenses card and I ended up taking money off that and paying for my bills. Not buying anything like materialistic. I'm not a materialistic person. And yeah, just ended up in a right hole and kind of already had the red flags raised from when I had my business in football before. I'd got into trouble with that. And I was just doing the same thing again. And it's like, it's a sign of madness, isn't it? You know, they say if you're doing the same thing, expecting different results, it's the first sign of insanity. So the red flags were all there. And I just completely disregarded them and completely ignored them. And I ended up in court, charged with theft. And I was completely oblivious to the situation that I was in. I felt like I was just completely existing, living for the moment, living second to second. How am I going to get through this? How am I going to get through this hour? Got took to court and they were like, don't leave the building. And I knew in the back of my mind, like, this is where the music stops. But I was thinking, no, I'll get home. I'll just like cry and I'll be fine. And I'll explain to them the situation and they'll just let us go. And this was the Crown Court, right? This is the Old Bailey. And it wasn't loads and loads and loads and loads of money, but it's not the point. It was a lot of money to somebody and it was money that was theirs, not mine. So yeah, they put me on remand. I remember going down the steps thinking, okay. And I got into the van and the cuff you and it's horrible, as it should be. As it should be. And I got put into the van, sweatbox, got took to Holloway and I didn't know what to expect. I genuinely did not know what was going to happen. I thought I was going to die. Like, that was it. I was like, I'm not going to get through the night. Like, this is just not going to happen.
Must have been terrifying.
Yeah. And I think when you have suicidal thoughts in your own mind anyway, and I had attempted that twice under the influence of alcohol, it's a horrible place to be. And so went through, you get checked in, you get booked in. Checked in. It's not a hotel. You get booked in, and obviously they take all your belongings off you. It's very dehumanising, again, as it should be. It should be that way. Holloway was actually closing, so I was one of the last vans in, I think the last van in, and they give you your prison issue grey tracksuit, which all I had was extra large. Like, and I wasn't at the time. Prison issue underwear, prison issue socks. Like, you get an allowance. You're given a card, so they take you in different rooms for different things. So you go in a room and you get your photograph taken for your pass, and you have to have your pass on you at all times, otherwise you are in deep doo-doo. And it's going to sound awful, it wasn't that bad, but it also was bad.
Right.
I was actually really poorly and I didn't realise how ill I was. And I was in for 3 days. I went to see the doctor and I got taken to hospital with a lung infection. So I was in, I think it's the Whittington Hospital in North London. Oh, that was the worst because I was actually handcuffed and chained to a bed and I had 2 prison officers with me at all times. Bearing in mind I had never demonstrated any violence. I'm not a violent
Yeah.
person. I'd never demonstrated any kind of will to go or work my ticket in any way. But at the same time, they don't know that. So they have to
Right.
treat everybody the same. And some of the looks I got off fellow patients
Ah.
it was awful. It was
Yeah.
awful, awful, awful. But I'd done that. I'd created that situation. So I was in hospital for a week. I had lung scans and everything. I was really poorly. And then I went back to prison. And within about 2 or 3 weeks, I thought, obviously this has happened. I've made this happen. There was a very quick realisation that I had to sharpen up. I had to get very streetwise. I was not streetwise at all.
Because you'd committed fraud and had a warning first
Mhm,
time,
mhm. Yeah,
but
yeah.
then had gone on
I've just done the same thing.
yeah. And so I suppose at this point you were probably really kicking yourself that why didn't I listen the first time?
I was because I think moreover, people don't think that anyone that this happens to or they don't care about what they're doing and I upset people and that hurt and it still hurts now.
Yeah.
Like I would give anything to go back to those people and say to them like I'm really sorry, and they
Yeah.
don't have to listen. I did a lot of restorative justice work with Sycamore Tree while I was in my 3rd facility and you don't ever get the chance to sometimes go and apologise to people. So I wrote to them. If they didn't want to read that or accept that, that's okay. But all I can do is just do my bit. But it doesn't make it right, even though you can apologise. It doesn't detract from what that person's gone through as a victim.
Yeah.
So I was a victim and I'm making other people victims, which, is not right. It's not the way to do it.
But that's how it works though, isn't it? And if you didn't have anybody to come in as a positive role model and to break that cycle, that's why you just keep repeating it.
Yeah, I mean, kind of obviously what had gone on when I was younger, but I had a good childhood. We had lovely Christmases. Like we weren't spoiled. My dad worked in a factory. My mum was a cleaner at a school. We didn't have loads and loads of money, but we always had beautiful clean clothes. We always had food on the table and we had good Christmases. My mum and dad
Yeah.
probably saved all year for Christmas for us. And we didn't have holidays and stuff, and we didn't have a car on the drive, but like a lot of people didn't then. It wasn't something that everybody had. We were really like looked after and loved. So there was kind of 2 splits to my childhood. There was all that going on. But then I had like summer holidays, which were just the best. So it wasn't that it was all bad. It really, really wasn't. And I think that's what I struggled to kind of still piece together until I did me therapy. And I did a lot of group therapy and a lot of counselling and a lot of trauma work. So yeah, I think that kind of those formative kind of periods at school helped me to kind of create a split life, if that makes sense, like a split
Yeah.
me.
So
Yeah.
prison, you got a lot of help and support in prison around your mental health, around your
Yes.
physical health as
Uh-huh.
well. Prisons where you discovered baking.
Yeah, so I got moved so Holloway was closing and I kind of very quickly realised, I think even 3 or 4 weeks in, like, I can use this experience for something. It was a real wakening up. It was like, okay, this has happened. I've made this happen. What can I do? What's gone on to make this kind of come about? There's got to be something underneath all of this. I'm not a bad person. Like, why have I done this? So I used to sit there and obviously during lockup, you're on your own. I was in a dorm on my own because I didn't smoke. I think I was probably one of only about 3 people who did smoke. But I didn't smoke. And I was in a dorm right on the end on my own for the first week and it was horrible. And then I moved to Bronzefield and I got up on the Sunday and we're outside on open time, which you didn't really get much of in Holloway. There was a lot of like 23-hour bang up. You got 20 minutes outside if you were lucky. Because they were so short staffed, because they were closing. And the Sunday morning after I got transferred to Bronzefield, we were playing cricket outside with the officers. And I thought,
It's a bit different.
bad. And like at school, I loved PE. Like I just loved PE. I did PE in sixth form. I was on the school running team. I did athletics, like I did swimming. If it had a ball, I was involved. And I wasn't a tomboy. I was dead girly girl. But if it had a ball, I was probably because the boys were there as well. But if it had a ball and the lads were there, I was like, hi, I was involved. If I could throw it or catch it, I was involved. So yeah. So Bronzefield was very, very, very cathartic from day one for me. And that was the first time I had a police officer come and interview me, and it was the first time I admitted everything. Because I pled not guilty before that. I was like, no, they gave us permission. No, I was completely ignorant to the whole situation and wouldn't accept it. And Bronzefield was so cathartic in such a way that it allowed us to just go, yeah, this is what happened for the first time in my life. I could be honest, I wasn't hiding anything because obviously I didn't tell my parents or anyone about what had gone on when I was younger until I was 21. So that all came out. So I've covered stuff up all my life and hid things and pretended that it was all okay. So that was the first time I sat there with a police officer and I was like, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did that. Yes, I did that. And there's this and there's this, and that's how I did it. And he was like, do you realise how big a step that is? And I was absolutely bereft. I was so upset, but I was also relieved. It was like, okay, so what do we do now? Cut off pipe, line in the sand. Where do we go from here? And at the same time, I got put by accident on an alcohol course.
Right.
And I was standing at the pod, and you can book what courses you want to go on, and you order things like your canteen, which you can get yourself like little treats with the money you have. So you can have your family send money in. And I was like, no, I'm going to get a job when I'm in here. I got put on an alcohol course, and they were like, okay, so how many units do you think you drink a week? I wrote down the units that I thought, and I thought about 40, 50. And then they were like, right, okay, so write down the bottles. So I wrote down the bottles, and it was about 300.
300 bottles? No, 300 units.
Yeah. So I didn't have an account with Majestic Wine. I was like, okay, so this could be part of what's gone on. And then at the same time, I applied for the job in Villanova, which was the staff coffee shop. And I got the job. And I used to wake up at 5:30 every morning, start at 6. And you got proper chef's uniforms, and we made paninis, breakfast sandwiches. And within about 4 weeks, I was doing cakes and I was doing homemade fish and chips, triple cooked chips. And I loved it. But that was tough because the girls in there were a different breed. Like, yeah, watch your back.
Yeah.
Never got involved in any silliness, never got involved in any drugs, never got involved in owing people, never got involved in relationships. That was not my thing at all. And I'm not knocking the people that choose that, but it just wasn't for me.
No.
Yeah. And I think from the outside, I think from the onset, my family, when they come in to see me on visits, could see that I was getting well, that I was getting better, that I was growing. So yeah, I started making cakes, but day one, I was like, I'm not taking money. I'm not using the till. It's money. I'm not doing that. I don't want it. Don't want anything to do with that. And people would be ordering paninis, and I'd forgot what everyone ordered.
Yeah.
Just basic things that I just struggled with.
Yeah. But you managed to get over that and get better.
Yeah, thanks to the staff in there. Like, the staff were unbelievable. And then I started going to the gym, and I really got into weightlifting and lost about 4 stone. Completely changed how I looked. Completely changed how I saw myself. We did karaoke on a Saturday. Like, don't get me wrong, it was, it's tough. It's a tough environment.
So you were mixing with some pretty tough people then.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
murderers and all sorts. Wow.
People who will never be out. Never.
Yeah.
People who've committed the most awful crimes. But there's a story. There's a story for everyone. And I think that's what's really, really opened my eyes. Not that I was ever a judgmental person, but I really try not to judge people because you don't know what people have gone through. I've had bad things done to me. I don't know what that person's gone through to make them think that that's okay to behave that way.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's the way I looked at it. If I wanted a chance, why would I not? Yeah. And you struggle because there are people in there who've done things to children like what I've gone through. There are, and it's a lot more prevalent than people would first think in a women's prison. Yeah, that was hard. But if you don't want to be in with those people, don't commit crime and don't go to prison. If you choose to do whatever you choose to do and you end up in that situation, then you have to deal with that because that's your doing.
But that's a huge acceptance on your part, which must have been a massive step for you to acknowledge and to own that and to accept that, yes, you have brought this about. And only at that point could you then, it's almost been like stripped bare and then starting again.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. It takes away all the distractions, takes away, I mean, don't get me wrong, you can get alcohol, you can get drugs in prison, of course you can. Very, very easily. A lot easier than you would first think.
Mm.
But it takes away the distractions. It gives you time when that door's shut on a night time to figure out how you can put that right. If that's your mindset to do so, you've got to want that.
Yes, if you
You
have
have got
to.
to want that. But I think it has to be a series of things. I think the help has to be there. I think the
Mm.
support has to be there. But I think you have to want it.
But you
Yes.
And I think if you want it enough, people will see that in you and they'll give you the help.
Yeah, it's a two-pronged thing. You have to want
Mhm.
it, but it has to be there to be offered to you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Mm.
And you said some of the prison officers and the staff in the prison were brilliant as well.
Honestly, unreal. They talk to you. They used to laugh at me because I had I had Newcastle United bedding set. So my husband's coming in on a visit, right? And they're all bringing like Cath Kidston, and because you're allowed to have your own bed. Oh no, he's dropping in a Newcastle United bedding set.
Mm.
And I'd always have banter with the officers about the scores because I found out which club they all supported. So I used to just absolutely take the mick out of them when that team got beat. I was like, how are you?
Oh.
So in that way, it was very much a time of reset. I felt like I'd gone back to being 15
Mm. Mm.
and I was allowed to just grow a little bit and grow up a little
Yes.
bit and be daft as well, which I'd never kind of been allowed to be because I'd had so much on my shoulders and responsibility from such a young age.
Was your husband looking after it on his own with your daughter at all this?
No, so my daughter at that point was, she was still living in Newcastle and
Right,
she was older. So she was 19, 20.
right.
And my son was in the middle of his GCSEs, so he went to live with his dad. He stayed with my husband for a few months, and then his dad was like, and I was panicked about that because we'd been through a lot as a family. But in hindsight, it was probably a good thing in a way. But he used to get on the train on a Friday and come down and see me on the Saturday all the way from Newcastle and go back home again on the Sunday. And you don't forget things like that.
No.
No.
Yeah. So I moved from Bronzefield just in the February, I think it was, if I remember right. I got me open category. Like I'd got open categories pretty much straight away. But when you're low risk and then the prison's becoming more full, they move you on from time to time.
Yeah.
So I got moved to Send in Surrey, and that was a little bit like going back to Holloway. It was a very old, kind of smaller wings with very narrow corridors, a lot more violence, I would say, but I kept away from that all the time and never, ever, ever had a problem. Food was better.
Bonus.
Food was all right, actually. Again, went to the gym, just kind of tried to continue to be where I got to. And after 2 weeks, I accidentally got put on a course called Wrapped. And there was a lot of these things that happen. You get put on courses, you get put on this, and then you can't get off it. You can't cancel it, you have to go. And I was like, 3 months of therapy. I was like, no, couldn't cancel it.
Mm.
Oh, God. Okay, so this has obviously happened for a reason. And this was the biggest growth period, I would say, in the 3 months that I had this group therapy, because I realised that I'd actually drank alcohol before the grooming and the abuse happened. I got a taste of it very early on, and my dad used to leave a can, and I'd be like, he'd go in the kitchen, I'd be like sneaking it. We'll be on holiday. I was pinching my mum's Bacardi and Coke on holiday, and I was only like 5 or 6. And I very instantly think it changed how I felt inside, and that's kind of what I got addicted to. So big realizations, did me step forward, did me 12 steps with AA, opened up a lot. And then I did me step 4 with me key worker, and that was unbelievable because I'd wrote down all the stuff that I'd done, like write down all of your transgressions, everything on paper. And that was unbelievable. That was unreal. So in the October, I got on licence, which meant I could go into town on the minibus, on the Happy Bus. So I could go into town. I had like 4 hours on my own. The first thing I did, I went to KFC and I ordered everything. Like literally had 3 meals. I was like sitting there on my own, happy as Larry. But was weird. I got off the bus to go into the shopping centre. It was very, very overwhelming because obviously I'd not been out. First big poster, special offer on wine, and I was like, oh hi, this is what I'm going to come across. I got a job working in the officers' mess, so they were just getting like bacon and sausage sandwiches at this point, and I was like going to the staff canteen, the kitchen supplies, and getting like cod and chicken. I was making lasagnas. Like I was doing, I had full tables. They were even bringing the picnic benches to the catering area so that I could make, so they could sit and eat food and stuff that I was making. And that was great. I loved that. So from there, you do that for 6 weeks. And then I got a job, paid work in a hotel, which was nearby. And it was absolutely beautiful, like gorgeous. So I got a job in housekeeping, cleaning the rooms. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. Then I got out on like proper license. So I would be able to go home for a weekend.
Right.
And the first weekend I got home in November, we didn't tell my son that I was coming home and he'd come down to visit. So he'd come in the sitting room and I'm sitting there and he's like, "Are you allowed to be here?" Yeah, it's okay. And I saw my dog and I was like, I hadn't seen my dog for like 22 months. And I was like, my
Oh,
baby. I also did a program called Keep Out when we worked with a lot of young girls who were falling in the pupil referral unit judicial system, trying to like steer them in the right direction.
yeah.
We do daily workshops and stuff, so I did that. And then I got out on tag in March 2018. I was out for 4 weeks and then I got offered a job, which was near where I lived in Hertfordshire. And I went, okay. So I went in for the pot wash job, right? Suited and booted, pinstripe suit, cufflinks. So she looked at me CV and she went, I think we'll put you in the sales team. Within 3 months, I was assistant sales manager. Within a year and a half, I was in area sales, and I loved it. And then COVID hit, and everyone lost their jobs.
Mm. Had you started this job while you were still connected to the prison? You were
No.
still
So
on
I was home. I was
tag?
home for 4 weeks on tag. Yeah. But they were like fully supportive. Like they had a rehabilitation program. I was absolutely blown away by how amazing everyone was. Like so amazing, because what happened to me in the mess that I made, it was in the papers. Like people were privy to that information. I've never tried to hide it. I could get it removed from Google now if I want to, but I don't see the point. Like it is what it is. It's already out there. And if I'm being open and honest with people about what's happened, it might help them a little bit as well.
It's part of your story, isn't it?
Yeah. It's part of like kind of how you get to where you get to. And I think, well, of course, I'd rather it didn't happen, but it did, and it is what it is. So yeah, so then COVID hit. I went to work for the same company as my husband, selling power tools for a little while, working from home, and I started baking from home in typical Claire style. In about 6 months, I'd gone from making cupcakes, like 5-tier cakes, and I was getting calls every week, left, right, and centre. Can you do me a cake on Thursday? And it's like Tuesday, and I'm like, yeah. But yeah, of course I will.
So how did this lead to your shop then? How did that?
Yeah, so
you know?
I moved home. So I'd been doing the cakes then for about 3 years. I moved back home. I'd wanted to come home for ages. I missed the football. And I missed my family, but I
Of
missed the
course.
football first. They know that, it's fine. And yeah, so my football experience now being sober is really different, but it's really cool. I get like a coffee and a Twix at half time, or I get chicken and chips or something like that. Like it's different. So moved home, packed the car up, and my hubby being in poor health, which was kind of my catalyst for coming home. So come home and worked. I got a job working for Jet2 at the airport, which I loved.
All right.
I've
Yeah.
been and travelled before.
They're a good company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're amazing people, so lovely. Worked for them for a year and a half, and then I was still doing like loads of cakes for people, and everyone was like, you should do this, you should do it full time. And then I got told locally, like where I moved to, and it was a little shop that come up. And I'd kind of thought about it for a long time, and I never thought it would happen. I never thought anything would come up, and then it did. And it was very, very reasonable, and I just went, I'm going to do it. So I gave up my job. I got a small loan because I had no money, had no savings. I got a loan for like $5,000. Bought everything on Facebook Marketplace. I was literally like every weekend I'd be somewhere buying something from someone, whether it was shelves or a dresser or fridges or packaging or whatever. But I lived on Marketplace for about 2 months. And tables and chairs and everything, we'll put it all together, and it looked so cute. It was so like proper little English tea room style.
Yeah.
And then it's just grown from there. Like I did a little post the other day because we won an award last week. So we won Northeast Prestige
Oh,
Cake
wow.
Bakery of the Year, and we didn't put ourselves in for it. We were
Wow.
nominated. So we won this award, and I posted a picture of our opening day, our opening Saturday. And we had to close at 1:30 because we'd sold out. So yeah, it's been a real journey, and I think it'll continue to be a journey. I think we'll continue to have little surprises, and yeah. It's all good.
That's fantastic. So yeah, really, as you've said before, prison was the making of you.
Yeah,
Changed
definitely.
your life, but in a
Yeah.
very positive way. And you're still involved in, what's it called? Men's Estate?
Yeah, so I've had some really positive meetings with HMP Northumberland about offering sort of a through the gate experience, or even if it was just working out on license. Because obviously we've got our horse box, so we do food markets and things. And I got invited to HMP Northumberland to go and see what they were doing with their staff cafe, which was very similar to what we did in Bransfield on a smaller scale. And I was so impressed with what they made, like the machinery they had, the opportunity that was then. And a lot of the guys that were in there were on these indefinite IPP, so it's an indefinite sentence.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they're either looking to or have already abolished these. I think they were introduced by the Labour government to sort of, obviously, like it was public protection, but some of the sentences, they weren't being reviewed properly. And whether that's down to the courts or the estates just don't have the time to go through and sift through all the paperwork. It's actually easier just to kind of keep it going rather than address
Yeah.
it properly. So yeah, so I went in and spoke to a few of the lads and even give them like a couple of recipes and stuff. And yeah, so trying to grow the business so that we can provide opportunities for people like I had, because I will never forget that. I'll never
Experience.
forget the opportunities I had.
Yeah. So this is your way of giving back for
Oh,
the
100%.
support you had. You're now able to offer some support to other people in the same
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, definitely. Even if it's just through like mentoring or anything like that. I do go to AA. Sometimes I still go when I feel a bit, it comes to Christmas time and I think, oh, why can't I just be normal and have a glass of Baileys? And I go, well, why would I want to do that? I've got a healthy fear, a healthy respect for alcohol. And I think fear is sometimes a good thing as well. You can flip that and go, well, yeah, I am scared of it and that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And despite that, when we've asked you to come up with a mocktail or a cocktail for the end of the show, what you've come up with was an espresso martini.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
explain in your own words why you
Okay.
went with an espresso martini.
So a martini, I had my first espresso martini. I've had a few. I had my first one in Gordon Ramsay's restaurant on Grosvenor Square, I think it is in London. And it was,
Wow.
what's this? I'd never had one of these before. The way I describe it was like I was dead smoothly around the top, but underneath that there's all this chaos going on, which is good chaos, but it's 4 coffee shots worth of chaos, not 2. I've got 4 espressos in there, and it's just like, wow. So what you see on the surface isn't what's underneath. And I think that's kind of like how I see myself. I'm a very deep thinker. There's a lot of things going on. Sometimes I don't switch off. I'll be answering emails at like 2 a.m. But yeah, that's how I kind of see myself if I was a cocktail.
Wow. Can I just say, an espresso martini is my absolute favourite cocktail.
Just delightful. They need to do a non-alcoholic version. I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're both
Podcast
teeny
with you.
girls, aren't we? Yes.
Well, it has been eye-opening,
Absolutely.
ear-opening if you're just listening.
You've been
Yeah,
fascinating to listen to,
absolutely.
and I have nothing but respect for the journey you
Yeah.
have gone through and how you've not only come out the other side, but you've come out the other side and absolutely succeeded and made something,
I didn't see an alternative though. I thought like, what's the alternative? I don't, like, I didn't want to be here. And if that hadn't happened, I probably wouldn't be here. I know I wouldn't be here.
Well, thank goodness that you are. Thank goodness that you got the help. And thank goodness for you for being so open-minded to the whole process and taking responsibility for what happened and your part in what went on and getting seeking the help to get over some of the horrific things that happened to you when you were younger as well.
I think like one thing that I learned from it is that mental health is mental health, but your own behaviour and your own reactions and your own responsibility is something completely different as well. And and I met people in there who seriously are very, very, very unwell and have always been unwell all their life. There are people that also play the mental health card, and that infuriates me. Yes, I was in a mess. Yes, I was in a pickle, but that wasn't a big enough excuse to do what I'd done. So like I must stress that really, I would never say like, oh, I did that and like feel sorry for me. No, that's not the case at all. You've got to own your own stuff that you do, and you've got to take responsibility.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Claire.
You have been truly a truly inspiring guest with a truly inspiring story. Thank you for sharing it with us, because we feel quite honoured to have been to.
No, thank you for having me. It's been really lovely, and if I can just help one person, like if anyone's struggling, just reach out, and
Yeah.
the help should be there. And if it's not, keep reaching out, because it will come. It will come good.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason. That's such a cliche, but it's so true.
Yeah.
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 Right, thank you,
Right.
Brian.
Well, thank you very much,
yeah.
Claire.
Thank you.
A lot.
We'll be in your cake shop soon.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. No espresso martinis though.
I know.
No, you can make one into a cake,
We do. We have.
Espresso
We've done
martini.
tiramisu with coffee
Oh, yeah.
liqueur in. All the things that they make, I've got alcohol in that I'm not allowed to try, and they're probably one of my favourite flavours. And I'm like, teach me.
Oh.
All
Right. Well,
then.
take care, Claire.
Thank you
Thanks
so
a lot.
much. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you to our guest this week, and thanks for listening.
And we look forward to roaring with you again.